Hello everyone and greeting to the professor. My name is Chen Ramani Sahe. Today me and my another 16 member would like to give a report about the business climate of South Korea, which will be including the history of trade, trading, economic model like flying gates, foreign direct investment policy, the MVA per capita, the HDI, the breakdown of CPI, deflation, and the impact of COVID-19 to South Korea and so on. By the way, do you know where South Korea is? How long did this country start to develop? Why should we invest in South Korea? Is it reliable for entrepreneurs to invest in South Korea? Now let's find the answer related to this developed country together. We have known that South Korea is officially announced as the Republic of Korea and is one of the countries in East Asia which have one of the most intensely military border with the North Korea. This country is the fourth largest economy in Asia and the 10th biggest economy in the world. Even with some developed, South Korea has shown to have underperformed in engaging with foreign direct investment relating to the measure and advancement of its economy due to the complicated and country-specific administrative system. Now we can assume that South Korea is an excellent and high level of export and import. Developed country with a high income, the reason to reduction of poverty and employee will also perspective to acquire a significant worldwide market share. Now let's talk to another part. We will talk about the South Korea business climate start from 1990 to 2021 and estimate more development for the next 10 years. The GPA, MVA, CPA, and the HDI are the primary metric which can be used to assess the substantial benefit to the investor. As we all know that South Korea is one of the best decisions for the investor to invest in South Korea because there will be a high chance to get success and it's regular for the new entrepreneur and investor to begin in carrying business service, physical service or product, and another business field related. Thank you.
So first and foremost, let's talk about the trading side of South Korea. Why don't we start by looking at the trading history before it gets into huge success nowadays. South Korea commerce was not as tremendous success by any means. Not to add that even when at the time when the United States wanted to invest in South Korea, the United States decided to discontinue the large sum of money in 1949. However, there was that one period, 1917 to 1977, when export began to expand, and the proportion of export climbed by roughly 45%. However, after 2 years, its side began to regress to the point where even the import factor and later the export side were no longer favorable. However, over a period of time and numerous well-thought-out plans, South Korea has progressed to the point where it has signed free trade agreement with a number of nations. So, what is the objective of all of these free trade agreements? Let's start with the South Korea Free Trade Agreement with the European Union, which, as we all know, is one of the largest trade agreements that European Union has with Asian nations, with the goal of bidding on South Korea government procurement contract. Then there is the free trade agreement between South Korea and the United States, whose goal is a long-term prosperity and which has opened a new market in service and investment. In addition, the goal is to ensure the medications export from the United States are treated fairly. Despite that, there is this trade agreement between South Korea and China, and the goal of the trade deal between South Korea and China is for South Korea to earn a significant benefit, namely the possibility to abolish tariff after 20 years. Last one, look at the free trade agreement between South Korea and Cambodia. The purpose of this was to have overcome the challenge of these current pandemic situations and receive the growth of the economy is have with eliminating the tariff for Cambodia of nearly 94% on all of the product. As we all know, South Korea being able to lift the duty nearly 96%.
Greeting teachers, and my name is Tumini Tasmay, which is covering the South Korea economic model. Why is Earth Asia-rich industrial network are being built, official development assistance and overseas investment has supported country development, encouraging underdeveloped and developing countries to catch up an industrialization economy in terms of technology and skill. Advanced economic and narrowing development gap. Now let's move to the next question. Why is the South Korean choosing fly-gas model? Transplanting a host country competitively disadvantaged production into an investment country is the pro-trade FDI mechanism. Now, what is economy advantage does FG model bring to South Korea? The FG model of the rate industrialization and immigration, trade, financial movement, and other type of economy, and the political development are essential to the South Korea economy and also increase FDI to South Korea. That is all for my point. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you and greeting. I am Chairperson Day, and I will now take charge and invite you to learn further about the South Korean business climate. South Korea has engaged in expanding productions and welfare gains to create more job possibility through domestic investment, demonstrating investment growth from 1990 to 2020, with persistently reducing unemployment rates and increasing economic growth rates. And what are the attributes of South Korea that attract foreign investment? It is necessary to operate their business as having a country incentive or possibilities toward investment such as South Korea, which is political stability, and the existence of a reliable infrastructure that aids in many ways in connected supply chains and efficiently transferring goods and services. With a highly qualified workforce in the private sector, development in South Korea is strengthening as well. Lastly, South Korea is already a 4.0 industrial country, indicating that it is technologically advanced. Overall, this, South Korea encourages and may give long-term investment prospects, despite some challenges. And please allow me to briefly demonstrate on what has South Korea done in response to trade and business operating within the country. It is extremely important and convenient for market participants and trade partners to establish a business relationship in South Korea, such as facilitate the business. A CSO encourages the enterprise by could get further advantage that can raise employees to higher workforce productivity within South Korea. And the cooperation with KOTOA and facilitate trade by encouraging advanced technology transfers and investment in high technology services, assisting with the creation of new future market and business areas, as well as formation of the Bilateral Investment Treaty and Tax Treaty, which give clarity, relief from double taxation for future investment, and protections against tax discriminations. As can be seen, the graph on the left side that shown on the screens, a lot of nations have a significant amount of export from South Korea. For export by country, a large export of South Korea top export destination is China, which is South Korea has lately earned approximately 14,298 million USD on goods that are exported, followed by the United States that is also counted as the best trade partner and export goods from South Korea. On the other hand, export by category. As a visual aid, we well on the right side, South Korea is the world's largest producer of heavy industry and semiconductors, which main industry include textile, steel, car manufacturing, shipbuilding, and electronics. South Korea earned lots of money from wood exportation that has increased year on year to 53.82 billion USD in 2021. But it is slowing from recently and falling short of South Korean market expectations. And now let us now access to South Korea GDP performance. afternoon. Well, despite the increased challenges, foreign and domestic enterprises continue to have faith in South Korea's economy. That GDP has grown by 1,630.53 billion USD, that is 33.3%, which is services was one of the fastest growing sectors in South Korea in 2020, contributing roughly 70% of South Korea's GDP, which industry contributed 24.8% and agriculture contributed slightly less than 10% of the country's GDP that's shown on the screen. Overall, with the assumption on figure 3 that we show on the screen as well, the productivity growth and consumption seem to drop as a result of strict social distancing restrictions since COVID-19 outbreak earlier this year. Therefore, and plus, while the FDI is being declined, the GDP in 2020 resulted in a decreased percentage for the negative growth difference when we compare to the GDP in 2019. Moreover, the representative from agriculture, engineering, construction industry, and other industry in South Korea rated their growth as rough to low stable, which is resulting of reduction to approximately 31.49 thousand USD of GDP per capita in 2020, which is shown on the screen. Thank you, and now welcome to Ms. Chang Chantida.
Greetings everyone. My name is Chang Chantida. Today I want to tell you about business climate, the response to COVID-19 possible. What has South Korea done to tackle this issue? South Korea's response to COVID-19 has remarkable, acting as global role model. The government of South Korea was also rigorous in its pursuit of economic stimulus, allocating more than 220 billion to program in 2020. MVA per capita and HDI of development. 1990 for MVA per capita of economic average data country 50%. South Korea in 2000 is grew up economic strength investment 31%. The economies of South Korea are grew up 10% more than 2000 and total 41%. Economies out around the world include South Korea low economies than 2010 because pandemic of COVID-19 every country's economies not processing. HDI development. In 1990 until 2019, education and development measures were established to supplement the HDI and capture some of the missing dimensions of development, such as poverty, inequality, and the gender gap, learning every woman and undergraduate health work, and then list from poor situation. Consumer price index CPI. The CPI in during the year 1990 adult average 113.7% and rent 5.4%. South Korea consumer index CPI grew to 108.97 points in August 2020, up from 108.83 points in December. The last presentation, economic forecast. The Korea's economy is expected 4% in 2021, driven by export and equipment investment, and 3% in 2022, as private consumption is expected to recover steadily, primarily in service. That's all my presentation. Let's move to my partner.
As we all know, South Korea is a developed country, and due to the fact that its economy was ranked as the 10th largest by nominal GDP, this provides a huge advantage for many business opportunities and attract many business investors to come invest in South Korea. But before investors begin to invest in these kind of countries, they have to watch out for challenges and how the government react to those kind of problems. South Korea's major problems was getting worse when the country was the first one to experience the outbreak of COVID-19 after China. Some major problems that South Korea encountered are dropped in GDP, less foreign direct investment, which leads to low of imports and export, as well as MBAs and HDI development. So this leaves us with one question: how does the government overcome this kind of problems? From our perspective, we suggested the government to keep the infection rate under control, because when a country can put COVID-19 under control, it means that the country's economy will easily recover. And we suggested the government to loosen trade barriers such as decreasing tax, as well as boosting consumptions, like using raw material in a country to boost manufacturing industries like foods or other medical supply that are necessaries to tackle COVID-19 down, and reduce the imports of other raw materials from other countries. Moreover, the government should encourage banks and microeconomic institutions to extend loans in order to support private businesses and avoid pandemic layoffs, so that businesses can still continue in a steady growth and earn some profits to support the business after COVID-19 ends and balance the GDP. Furthermore, the government should find ways to help the jobless people so that poverty will not increase after COVID-19, and government should also put in place effective healthcare system so that it will help assist the economy and the business sector.
So, to sum it up, this report has shown the growth and development of South Korea, along with the trading sides and who benefits from all of that. But despite the issue and difficulties, as mentioned above, is it still reliable for investors to invest in South Korea right now? The answer is yes, but with a lower prospect of income than it was before the COVID-19 pandemic. Even though consumption is falling short of the South Korean market expectation, especially the challenging practical field of catering service, other service sectors in the economy are still going fine. So it is still safe for businesses to operate in a range of industries in South Korea. As the country's response to COVID-19 is excellent, and if we assess the revenue generated by each or various countries or its investors' income, then we can assume that South Korea is one of the best choice to invest in right now for entrepreneurs.